ભારતના પૂર્વ રાજદૂત અરુણ કુમાર સિંહે અમેરિકાના રાષ્ટ્રપતિ ચૂંટણીમાં ભારતીય મૂળના લોકોની ભૂમિકા વિશે વાત કરી. ભારતના પૂર્વ રાજદૂત અરુણ કુમાર સિંહે અમેરિકાના રાષ્ટ્રપતિ ચૂંટણીમાં ભારતીય મૂળના લોકોની ભૂમિકા વિશે જણાવ્યું કે ભારતીય અમેરિકન મત અને ચૂંટણી અભિયાન માટેના ભારતીય અમેરિકન ફંડિંગ તાજેતરના સર્વે અનુસાર મહત્વપૂર્ણ બની ગયા છે. ભારતીય અમેરિકન સમુદાયની કુલ સંખ્યા લગભગ 5.2 મિલિયન છે. તેઓ અર્થતંત્રમાં ખૂબ જ મહત્વપૂર્ણ ભૂમિકા ભજવે છે. ઉપરાષ્ટ્રપતિ અને રાષ્ટ્રપતિ પદના ઉમેદવાર ભારતીય મૂળના છે, તેથી તેઓ અમેરિકાના અર્થતંત્ર અને રાજકારણમાં મહત્વપૂર્ણ ભૂમિકા ભજવે છે. તે મહત્વપૂર્ણ મતદારોનો સમૂહ છે અને જો તે એક તરફ કે બીજી તરફ ઝૂકે છે તો તે ચૂંટણીને અસર કરી શકે છે. ભારતીય મૂળના લોકોની સંખ્યા લગભગ 5.2 મિલિયન છે, જે અમેરિકાની કુલ વસ્તીનો 1% છે. આ સમુદાયનો અર્થતંત્રમાં મહત્વપૂર્ણ યોગદાન છે અને તેઓ રાજકીય દ્રષ્ટિએ પણ મહત્વપૂર્ણ છે. તેઓના મત અને ફંડિંગ બંને ચૂંટણીમાં મહત્વપૂર્ણ ભૂમિકા ભજવે છે. ઉપરાષ્ટ્રપતિ કમલા હેરિસ અને રાષ્ટ્રપતિ પદના ઉમેદવાર ડોનાલ્ડ ટ્રમ્પ વચ્ચેની ચૂંટણીમાં ભારતીય અમેરિકન સમુદાયનો મત મહત્વપૂર્ણ બની ગયો છે. આ સમુદાયના લોકોના મત અને ફંડિંગ બંને પક્ષોને મહત્વપૂર્ણ છે. અરુણ કુમાર સિંહે જણાવ્યું કે તેઓ અર્થતંત્રમાં મહત્વપૂર્ણ ભૂમિકા ભજવે છે અને રાજકીય દ્રષ્ટિએ પણ મહત્વપૂર્ણ છે. તેઓનો મત અને ફંડિંગ બંને ચૂંટણીમાં મહત્વપૂર્ણ ભૂમિકા ભજવે છે. આ રીતે ભારતીય અમેરિકન સમુદાયનો મત અને ફંડિંગ બંને પક્ષોને મહત્વપૂર્ણ છે અને તે ચૂંટણીને અસર કરી શકે છે. ઉપરાષ્ટ્રપતિ કમલા હેરિસ અને રાષ્ટ્રપતિ પદના ઉમેદવાર ડોનાલ્ડ ટ્રમ્પ વચ્ચેની ચૂંટણીમાં ભારતીય અમેરિકન સમુદાયનો મત મહત્વપૂર્ણ બની ગયો છે.
How influential is Indian diaspora there, and what role they are playing in this reaction? If you can tell us, because both sides are trying to woo Indian American voters by tracing their lineages back to India, be it J.D. Vane's wife and or Kamala Harris. How do you see Indian American role in this reaction?
Obviously, the Indian American vote and Indian American funding for campaigns has become important. According to the latest surveys that have come out, the total size of the Indian American community is about 5.2 million, and it has increased significantly over the last couple of decades. Out of which American citizens are about 2.6 million. Now, that having been said, they play a very important role in the economy. And as you see, CEOs of many leading US companies, Microsoft, Google, Adobe, IBM, they are persons of Indian origin. And if you go to Silicon Valley, you can see that Indian origin tech entrepreneurs are an integral part of US global leadership in innovation. There are more than 110,000 Indian origin doctors in the US. 1 out of 7 patients in the US is seen by an Indian doctor. 60% of all hotel rooms in the United States are owned and managed by Indian Americans. And you now see their growing presence also in administration and politics. The vice president and the presidential candidate is a person of Indian origin. And then there are others who have very key positions in the Biden administration. There are 6 members of Congress who are persons of Indian origin. So they are having an important role in the US economy and politics. But more than that, the size of the Indian American community today in many battleground states is larger than the margin by which President Biden had won in 2020. So it becomes an important voting bloc. And if it swings one way or the other, it can impact on the elections. And that is why both have been reaching out to the community. President Trump has spoken about his fondness for the Indian American community, for the Hindu community, his friendship with the Prime Minister. President Biden hosted a major Diwali event at the White House just a few days ago. So both campaigns are making a very reach out to the Indian American community.
Sir, what are your expectations from this election in terms of foreign policy? Are we expecting any kind of potential shift in US foreign policy related to India, sir? Following this election?
I don't think we should expect any shift as such related to India. because since 2000, when President Clinton came to India, there has been a broad bipartisan support in the US for the India relationship. So Democratic Bill Clinton, Republican Bush, Democratic Obama, Republican Trump, Democratic Joe Biden. Under each presidency, the relationship has only gone in an upward trajectory and has consolidated at each state. So there's a broad support. And I think, and if you saw, for example, in the Trump 1.0, Trump placed India on what was called STA Level 1, Strategic Trade Authorization Level 1, for highest level technology releases, on par with the NATO partners of the US. And in the Biden presidency, the two countries launched a major initiative for a partnership on critical and emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, quantum, semiconductors, defense, space, before the US had done that with any of its other partners. So I think that way it should continue. But there could be some changes, for example, related to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Because if it is to be a Trump administration, Trump has signaled that he would approach it differently. And in the past, he has signaled that he could accommodate some of Russia's concerns. We have to see how that plays out. Again, we have to see what happens in West Asia. Trump in the past had been 100% behind Israel and supportive of Israel. Kamala Harris, in her own comments, has also been critical of the civilian casualties that have taken place as a result of Israel's actions, have spoken of international humanitarian law. So there could be some nuance related how each of them might approach the conflict in West Asia. So we have to see how it plays out. But again, on China, I would expect that both would adopt a very similar policy. Because both under Trump and under Biden, the approach to China had been an approach of competition, pushing back on China's technology thefts from the US, theft of intellectual property rights, and restricting China access to high-level technologies in the US. That will continue, whichever administration it